Hey parents, it's Pastor Jim again, and I just wanted to come to you again this afternoon and just let you know about what happened last night with our kickoff of small groups. And what we were talking about is really challenging students to really think about the realities of the gospel, not simply the gospel in us going to heaven and getting out of hell, but the realities of the gospel for everyday life. And really where that starts is who God is and how great God is, and that everything points to the glory of God. We started off with kind of an object lesson of speaking of honey and talking about what honey tastes like, what it smells like, how it feels to our skin if it's on it. And once students were done sharing about that, we actually passed around a thing of honey and put it on a plate and had students kind of taste it and feel it on their skin. And we talked about the difference between talking about it in knowledge and actually experiencing honey, the taste of it, the smell of it, the feel of it. And we related that to, it's the same way of how we talk about God. A lot of times we have different ideas about God in our heads, and it is so different than how we've experienced God in our everyday lives. Have we really experienced who God is? How is He related to us? How have we related to Him? And we went from Romans 11, verses 33 through 36, and just really talking through how the Apostle Paul talks through the glory of God and who He is. And so we talked about our mentality to kind of bargain with God and try to get God to give us things based upon what we give to Him. And it's just a real kind of reminder of our own lives in that way. What I'm talking about with remembering the gospel and preaching it to ourselves is this idea that we are adopted as God's children before the foundation of the world. There's nothing that we can do to pay God back. There's nothing that we have that God doesn't already own. And just looking at everything points to God. I was reading in Galatians 4 this morning, something I wanted to share with you. And it's Galatians 4, starting in verse 4, going through verse 7. But when the fullness of time had come, God sent forth His Son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those who were under the law, to redeem those who were under the law, so that we might receive adoption as sons. And because you are sons, God has sent the Spirit of His Son into our hearts, crying, Abba, Father. So you are no longer a slave, but a son, and if a son, then an heir through God. We inherit as God's children all the gifts that He's given to us as His real children. And oftentimes we forget that. We forget what we have in Jesus Christ. We forget that we are declared not guilty. So oftentimes the good news, the gospel turns into, once we've received a relationship with God, we kind of put it aside, or what we do often is we kind of have the good news plus. We forget that we are God's sons. Nothing disrupts that relationship. Nothing can separate it from us. Nothing at all. Often people look at the Sermon on the Mount, chapters 5 through 7, they say, it's the greatest ethical teaching ever that has been given on this planet in the history of time. And what we fail to realize is that as you start Matthew 5, we realize that doing this, doing the actions of what Jesus is talking about, is utterly impossible. We cannot do it. It's impossible to just have and do these good deeds. It only can be done through the power of God changing us from within. So this idea of being poor in spirit, blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are those who mourn, that is done by Jesus working out His life through us and having it change our lives and how we live our lives. And that's why we must begin with the good news of Jesus Christ. We must begin that we are secure in Jesus Christ, that we are His children, and cry out to God saying, Abba, Father, dearest Father, Daddy, that we have this secure relationship. And out of that, Jesus transforms our lives into following Him with everything that we have. That's what it's about. That's what we have in Jesus Christ, that there is no condemnation for those in Christ. And it's important for us to preach that to ourselves every day. So I encourage you to preach that to yourself. I encourage you to teach that to your kids, realizing that without Jesus Christ, we are nothing. And everything Jesus Christ has done for us points to who God is, that He is great, that He is awesome, that He is amazing, that we can't bargain with God and give Him something that He doesn't have, that He doesn't already own. We are Jesus Christ's, and we are His, and we are secure in that relationship. I'm praying for you, and I just want to encourage you that others are praying for you, and just wanted to say that I love you.